First area of focus today is to be able to teach a technique but say it confidently so that their voice ensures that everybody follows them and knows exactly what they're saying. So the kids aren't necessarily concentrating on the techniques of teaching but on their presentation skills. Just to wrap up this last session that we did today, and obviously all the students have left now, but we talked about, with the adults course at least anyway, and something that which even young adults need to be aware of, is the two main areas of responsibility as an instructor that we have a legal responsibility to ensure the safety of our students, and we also have an ethical responsibility. But in terms of the legal responsibilities, I've always said that our responsibility as an instructor is to keep our students physically safe, mentally safe, and legally safe. So, for example, physically safe means that we need to show them how to be able to defend themselves in an actual attack. Our mental responsibility to keep someone mentally safe is, I mention that because quite often the number of students that might be attacked physically in a real life situation and their life is on the line is minimal. But the number of students who might still suffer mentally from depression or anxiety or obsessive compulsive disorder or post-traumatic stress disorder is much higher than would be those who are physically attacked. So as a martial arts instructor, we can enable our students to be able to combat those threats through the positive thinking involved with martial arts training. So we've got physical responsibilities and a physical threat. We've got a mental threat, but we've also got an ability of our students to keep themselves legally safe. So we need to explain, as I did this afternoon with the adults, the importance of understanding their responsibility when defending themselves, that they have a responsibility to use any force that is reasonable to be able to defend themselves. For example, if I'm attacked by 2 or 3 larger men, I can use whatever force is reasonable to be able to ensure my safety. Once my safety is guaranteed, then I no longer have an ability to be able to use that same force. I must then degrade my force. So we talked about that so that all the students were completely aware of their responsibilities to their students and the type of training that we expose them to. We also talked, very importantly, about a legal responsibility of being an instructor. We talked about working with children's checks. We talked about risk management within the school. We talked about if an instructor can be held responsible for an injury that is caused inside the classroom, inside the martial arts on the dojo floor, or if it is the ultimate responsibility of the owner. We talked about a whole range of subjects concerning them, and I just made sure that the students, the instructor candidates, were aware of what goes on behind the scenes, of what goes on when the when the owner is at home. They may be physically at home, but mentally they're tied to their business 24/7. The final area that I just mentioned just before the adults left was an area that is not dealt with much, and it's an ethical responsibility that an instructor has to his students. For example, the instructor, he is ethically responsible to be able to give the results that he promises or she promises. For example, if an instructor gives a black belt out and says to the student, you now have the ability to be able to defend yourself in a street fight, that instructor had better ensure that he has prepared the student for a real life confrontation. If it's a sporting sort of art, let's imagine that it's mainly a sporting art and the instructor says, this is not a self-defense system, it can be used for self-defense, but our main focus is to be able to create Olympic level athletes. So we're going to train you so that you can perform at Olympic level. Well, that's cool, because my promise, the result that I promised, I delivered on. As I explained to the students, if we give out black belts and not prepare the students for the situation that we said that we promised them in the first place, we are ethically responsible for the student who does not perform, because we led them to believe that they could perform at that level. So ethically, we have to think clearly as owners, as instructors, about what kind of result we want to get from the training that we are putting our students through. It's something for all of us to think of.